Hello and welcome yet to another episode of Diaries with me, Phiona Mbowa, here on Church of Uganda Family TV every Wednesday 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Diaries, we talk about everything and anything to do with marriage. And as I always say, we're not experts. We're here only to share our experiences so to make this journey as comfortable as possible for everyone. This evening, I'm privileged to host a professor, maybe not in marriage, but a professor in his own right, and he will tell us why. And we're going to talk about the economics of marriage. What is the economics about marriage? What is marriage? Is it even an economic decision? Is it just a matter of the heart? So with me today is Livingstone Mukasa, who's been married for 20 years, to tell us about the economics of marriage. You're welcome.
Thank you, Fiona. I'm glad to be on the set tonight, and thank you for the warm introduction.
Okay.
I'm also looking forward for the discussion, the economics of marriage.
Yes, and I think for the case of my guests, just tell us a little about what you do so that we understand why you're the one telling us about the economics of marriage.
So first and foremost, I'm an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I'm involved in 3 businesses that I have started and founded. For one, financial services. We're in real estate. We build homes for sale.
Okay.
Then living business education, we do training, financial advisory. I'm a financial advisor. I'm a certified financial advisor.
Okay.
And then I started a business 20 years ago called Clean Consult Limited, where we do simple cleaning. We virtually clean everything. Most of my work is about advisory. I love to work with married couples.
Okay.
People have termed me the professor of streetnomics.
Streetnomics.
Yes, the economics that works on the street.
Oh,
and makes
okay.
it work. And as I say, I'm married to Martha. Hope she's watching tonight.
For 20 years.
For 20 years. We met at school, but we never dated at school.
Okay.
Yeah, so we dated afterwards as life.
And I've been married for 20 years.
Yeah, and God has blessed us with children. We have already given one away, and we'll be now accepting a new member of the family. My son will be getting married soon.
Oh, interesting. Thank you for joining us today. So about the economics of marriage, it's intriguing how you can look at marriage, the economic side of marriage. You know, for me, when you talk about marriage, I'm thinking butterflies and, smiling and living happily ever after.
It's interesting. I also grew up on reading Mills and Boons. One of my favorite novels is called Farewell to France.
Okay.
I
thought Mills and Boons were for us, the ladies.
We did read them. We did read them, and of course they always portray the men as rich and famous, masculine. But if you are short and you come from a poor family,
you don't surface anywhere.
You don't fancy your dating chances. But in reality, we have to go back and understand that at a certain point you find you need to consider settling down with someone's daughter.
Okay.
And yes, the love is what brings the discussion. And there are a lot of experts we have in town and counselors that talk about the love side. And I don't want to do that. I would go to my territory. What we don't see is the economics that the person you get married to, whether you're a lady or a man, is a lifetime decision.
Okay.
And lifetime decisions also come with lifetime expenditures and earnings.
Okay.
So the person you marry is your biggest economic decision. It will not be the business you start. It will not be the course you started.
The person I marry or I get married to is my biggest
economic decision.
Why? Why do you say that?
We say so because you have given him everything you own. When you remember the vows we make in church, they say, everything I have, I give. So now you can imagine you writing a check and you are handing everything you have to somebody. Now, here's where it becomes interesting. You're not just handing over what you have today. You're also handing over what you will make in the future.
The future. Do we know that as
I'm about to scare some people
I
tonight.
think so, because when I say what I have, I give to you. It's simple because maybe at that point I don't have even anything.
Yes, you don't have
but when I look at it at 20 years from now,
you've given them away.
Oh.
So it's the biggest economic decision that you ever make. And that's why I tell the young people, and even those that are already married, I say that in matters of love, in the matters of butterflies, please take your brains with you.
So as I'm feeding the butterflies and I'm looking for a tall, dark and handsome man,
yes,
I need to bring the brain along.
Bring the brains with you. That means settle down and try to silence the butterflies a little bit and see the economic prospect of this person that I'm getting married to. What are their decisions when they are handling money? What are the obligations they come with? Now, yeah.
But living, I don't know, maybe I don't know, maybe we were at different times. By the times we were getting married, it was about, I'm excited, the excitement. And usually even today's bride is excited about getting married. So when you're telling me I bring my brain, then I'm going to start saying, now this man.
Yeah, but it is important, because you know what happens. In the initial beginning, it's the butterfly that will bring you together.
Yes.
It will be the brains that will keep you in marriage.
Oh.
The brains, the logical nature of the human being, to think through the options and the values that are on the table is what will keep you in marriage. So now I remember, I go back. Now I'll use myself as an example. I come from an extended family, and my father we had mom north and mom south. They are still
Mom north and
mom south. Mom Wengu manga.
Oh, north and south.
North and south. Do I know Wengu manga? But they are still alive, and we're grateful that these parents are still with us today. But what I remember, my mother was telling me, don't ever think of marrying a second wife.
Why?
Second wife. Because she had seen what this causes within marriage. So even today, after 20 years, I can stand and say still married to one woman on that. But the other one, as a result of that big family, we were many of us. And that means I started looking after my siblings, black tax, at an early age.
Okay.
So logic demanded
that Martha should know.
But logic also demanded that I also don't get someone that has the same problem like me.
But Mukasa, you're trying to, so you look at this partner.
Yes.
If he comes with 10 siblings,
and I also come with 10.
I cannot also come with 10.
No, that's the point. That's not butterflies.
But realize these are things that we actually never think about.
If you don't, go ahead and struggle.
Is that why we are struggling in our families?
No, some do. Some overcome these challenges that have been posted their way. But what I am trying to say, go with your
brain.
With your brain. It's the one that will keep you married and still seeing that person is still relevant in your life.
So if I still the heart, by the way, first pause.
First pause.
Now we need to reason properly.
Yeah, this beating of first put it on the side.
The heart can beat like very fast.
No, you look at someone and your legs start going to melt.
Wobbly.
Yes. So now again, and Martha has allowed me to use this. Martha is my wife. Has allowed me to use these examples. So we met at school. We never dated at school.
Okay.
But she got a career. She went into a career and she was doing well. And maybe 3-4 years later, she was able to buy a car. And I was there in my field in marketing, struggling and making money, but because I had siblings, you couldn't even see it. You couldn't see it. So, but the point I want to get to is, at the point when we are getting nearer to marriage, like maybe we start dating, she had a car, I didn't.
So she's driving.
Yes.
And you for your.
I don't have a car.
So how was the relationship working?
Now that's a good one. That's why I actually raised it up here, because I want to mention why these economics really matter. Now, in my case, my economics are driven by my values.
Okay.
My decisions are driven by my values. I was raised up, say if you are the man dating a woman, you cannot date a woman in her car.
Why not?
Wait
I have a car.
Yes.
You don't have.
And now I propose a date.
Here we go in my car.
And who's driving?
Either. Possibly, you may not even be able to drive because you have no car.
I have no car yet. I know how to drive. And then, you, of course, if you are dating or something, she says, you can't drive my car. This is my car. If you are going to the date, I'll drive you. And then they took what rule?
So how would you handle it?
Simple. You go to the stage, you pay a special hire, self-drive, you come tell her, park your car, I'm taking you out for a date, now in a special car, so you can drive.
So her car is parked. You're paying money to get another car to take you.
It's so important for my values.
What value are you bringing out?
Now I am the man. I am the one who proposed the date. You can't drive me to the date.
That I proposed?
No.
Okay. I think some young men need to hear that. But also, I'm thinking now, the balance comes in.
Yes, it does.
It starts to look like maybe if the woman is making more money than the man, or even presumably, that's one of the things that is bringing a lot of issues. And you're bringing the element of values.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking if the woman is making money, we bring the money, put it together, and spend it. But right now, Livingstone cannot even sit in my car for me to drive here.
But that was when we were dating. Finally, when she became my wife, maybe then the things had come together. So I took maybe a year later, I bought my own car.
Okay.
But what I want to first go back to is to pick out the issue that if you look at this couple that is coming together, their prospects, their families that are being joined, their values, and these values will impact them as they start to be in this marriage. So if you're making money, but I want to give a little bit of a historical context to the concept of where, for me, I think around 95, 96, we saw that the introduction of the 1.5 that was added to women in Makerere. That actually gave the lady child, the girl child, a bit of advantage in social mobility using education.
Yes.
And so it's now common with us, and it's still there up to this day. It's common now to see girls that have gotten into the
and
workforce
actually prospering
and
even
prosper.
more than the
So I
men.
have no problem with something like that. But what we have to understand is that in marriage there are probably three sets of couples.
Okay.
There is one where only one person works. One of the couples works, and he brings all the money that the family depends on. Now the dynamics will be different in that particular couple. Usually it's the man, but increasingly we see ladies that are in that capacity, that are bringing that money. So the dynamics will be different. Then there are another side where it's the man on the other side that brings in the money. But the common one now that we interface with is a couple at par.
I bring in money, you bring in money. Almost the same amount.
Almost the same amount of money.
So when we bring in this money, what happens to it?
And now it depends on how you have decided to handle that money. The economic side is not straightforward. Most marriage counselors will come in and tell you about joint accounts. But I have found there is no one way that works for one couple. One that works for one couple, another might not be able to work.
Yes.
Some couples agree and spend on expenditures. Like I say, I will take care of the kids, I'll take care of rent. That's my territory. Your territory is the food,
school fees.
So you get another territory. So they could be able to handle like that. But if you bring in more money, it does not give you more equality. You're not more equal just because you bring in the money. Suppose you are the woman that brings in the money. You don't put on the man's trousers. Because if you decide now all of a sudden to become the family head.
But not becoming the family head, I think I need you to explain a little bit about the woman putting on the man's trousers.
Yes.
If I am bringing the money, and maybe you are stay at home. Okay, I don't know if they're stay at home men, but if you are stay at home and I bring in all the money, what shows that I'm now putting on the trousers? I could just be bringing in money.
I wish if they brought in the money and they don't add words.
Which words?
Because she can't bring in the money and she could also add words. Look at you, Natomera. Natomera. But
say that to the person that you married.
Natomera. But what I want to add on is that if she brings in the money, now to putting on the man's trouser is now deciding where we live, which schools the kids would go to, and then her relatives become more important than
So
my
because
relatives.
I bring in the money.
Because I bring in the money.
I matter more, so I can make my own decision.
Would you imagine if you went to the bond as a lady and bought a car and brought it home without consulting your husband? What it would do to the marriage?
What would it do to
You
the
decided the model?
I know what I want. All of us have dream cars.
Yeah.
So I have a dream car, and God has helped me get the money.
Yes.
Why can't I go to the bond?
And you go to the bond and you buy it and you bring it
Why
at
wouldn't
home.
I buy it?
Wait, I wouldn't advise it.
Why not?
Because then that is going to be the source of conflict. Every time the man will pass by and see that car, red with all the bling bling, then the man will say, I am inferior. She did this.
But so you mean I shouldn't make any so what happened? Okay.
Men are the one that this could be a joke, but in a way, we tend to assume that it's men that we understand cars. You end up bringing some car that will not last longer. Mine I would have brought in one.
Does it matter?
It
It's
does.
my car.
It does. You're my lady. And at the end of the day, I'm going to take that car to the garage, and the mechanics will be telling me stories because you chose. Do you think I'll take it to the garage? The economics are real.
So clearly this is an economic, whatever we are making is an economic decision.
Yes, it is.
If it is about marriage.
Yes.
But I'm thinking some things are now becoming too sensitive. I'm still trying to understand, why wouldn't I buy my dream car?
But also,
without
if I buy a family car,
would
and
you
you also
consult
say,
me?
I would. Because the car is a utility, you're going to sit in that car, and sometimes you'll be able to drive it. And I go to the bond and I spend the money, and you are not aware what I spend the money
No,
for.
I could be aware that you're going to buy a car, but maybe not the nitty-gritty of what model, because maybe I won't even understand it.
Maybe some families the lady wouldn't mind, but in some cases where the money is probably, people will care. So, and this goes to the big ticket items in the home.
Okay.
The plots of land, building a home.
All that should be the man.
I am not saying it's just the man, but these are consultative items. we need a constitutional assembly.
We need to sit down and decide.
Cool down, and everybody understands what is at play.
Okay.
You buy in Gayaza, I work in Luzira. You are the one sending me to the tax every day to go to work in Luzira. You never consulted me. It's gonna affect me.
I'm actually speechless. So anyway, I like where this is going, but I'm trying to understand. So how about from what you're talking about? It's sounding like if I'm the woman and I am bringing in more money than the man, I have to consult the man.
It has not changed. He's still your husband,
whether he makes money or not.
The fact that you bring in more money.
But I can bring in money and I give you some money and we'll be happy.
And men like me, if you have to give me, once is okay. Twice I am full. Thrice I will be annoyed.
Why are you annoyed? I'm giving you money.
No, it's my job to give you money. Like, if like I said, my wife works and I work. And maybe God has blessed us, we all bring in money. But my point is that your hair is my job. The food at home is my job. If I make some money, I want to give you. Don't rob the happiness of a woman eating my money just because you work.
Okay. So even if I work, you should come and give me
I give you and you are grateful. And you also tell your friends my husband gave me. Now I am sorry.
This is interesting. I am.
When we are walking and say my husband came and brought me this ebinyanya, like 2020 is a called ebinyanya on the street.
Hey.
Yes. So he brought some binyanya, very new ones. And you know what? I went to the salon that day and told the lady to do that twist she had been refusing.
That she has been telling me it's 300.
It's 300k. My husband gave me the money. You see? And when I make a hair and he doesn't like it, he tells me, Gendo zichusi. Can you comment on where you have not paid for?
Okay, like I am trying to wrap my mind around. So, we are both working.
Yes.
I want to make sure that our viewers can actually understand what you're saying. You're working.
I do.
We're making almost the same amount of
Yes.
money. But you still have to pay for my hair.
Yes, because you are my wife.
So can I also in turn pay for your car service or battery?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want to do with your money. But we have this school of thought that is paramount on social media, where they think men enjoy spending ladies' money.
Yes.
But the traditional men like me, the boys that were raised in Masaka, the proud Muganda boys, it is painful to go on a Saturday morning and tell your wife, give me money to go shopping.
Livingstone, you know I have money. So how can it be painful you asking me for money to go shopping? For the family.
I have failed. There are days when you will give me, but it is my job to feed my family the diet that I can afford.
So what happens if what you can afford, I want something better than what you can afford?
You can add on. But if you make it a habit to always come back with meat, expect a difficult conversation.
But are there people like you? Do they still exist?
So I was with a group of men about 2 weeks ago. There were 5 couples that invited me to talk about money. And when I said it, men were like, man, let's toast.
So they're dying in silence.
They are dying in silence.
We are there not enjoying their money. But please repeat it for the viewers. Men, please give your wife some money.
Yes.
Even when they are working.
And may I add, give your wife some money. Please don't add any questions or any comments. When she asks, what is this money for? Say, I have nothing else to add. It is your money.
It is your money. Have you had people, married men, give your wife some money? Okay. I am still trying to understand that, but I like where you're going. Are there people who actually still think like that?
No, you are seeing a living example. My name is Livingstone, sorry, but you are seeing a living example. So this is how we behave. We see it as our responsibility to take care of our family. And if you have helped me, but in Uganda we saw kuyamba kuti bufuka bumbo. So I don't want to saddle you with the responsibility of taking care of my family.
But now living. So what happens if you actually are unable to provide?
There will be days when I come to you and I say, you know what, Bianco Biemu, things are tough, give me 20 million. Or maybe 5 million. Or even if it is 500, you can. But listen to this. It is okay for some days for me to take the car. And I tell you, put in fuel. But it can't be a habit.
Okay. It can't be a habit. So from what you're saying, I don't know, have you ever experienced a time when you have had to,
Yes.
you've earned less than Martha?
Yes. And this is what she did, and I'm glad we're on Family TV and we're a Christian community. My point, what we went through, and it wasn't easy for me. And I think it may be 2 times that it happened. But what she says, she saw what it was doing to me.
So it was literally killing you that she
Yes.
had to take over?
Yes. And then she started praying for me. Like she would wake up in the morning and she would pray for me. And to say, okay, God, please, this man needs to have some money. She still prays that I get money. And of course, every woman should pray for her husband, either the other way around. Every husband should pray for the woman to do well. But I want to go in a place and stand as me, as a man, not because of how famous he is. I used to work for a cabinet minister. And she was married to a gentleman that most people did not know so much about. But the lady carried the name. I wouldn't say maybe, I am not allowed to say who they are.
Yeah.
But the man had a habit that if he went to a function, and you introduced him as so Livingstone, the husband to so and so, he would leave your function.
But why? But let me tell you, as a young girl, I always wanted my husband to be introduced as Mr. Phiona. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. But I thought it would be nice if
to change the roles a bit.
No, if I am known So that everyone sees him and says, hey, that's Fiona's husband. You get? So you're saying this person was actually
but
feeling
people
bad.
make it a habit, and they think you cannot stand on your two legs.
Oh.
So they always add on things just to make sure that the other one is more famous than you, because the other one is a more...
So I say Livingstone and you're not getting it. I'm like, the husband to Martha.
No,
You know?
incidentally, so in my case, I want to be able to stand on my legs. And I don't know, some of these couples that we are seeing, one of the challenges is, and I have always seen it in my marriage, is that some couples are so independent of each other.
Yes.
That each one of them can do on their own. Like if they left,
They wouldn't even miss anything.
no, they would maybe miss being together, but like economically, each one of them is okay.
But is that good? So what is the marriage?
No, I'm getting to that, and that's when it becomes beautiful. Because we are not bound in marriage because of money. I don't know where to go.
But we said at the beginning that what is mine, I give to
You have given.
my future money. I don't know. I think we need to start giving disclaimers of future money. Because if we're going to be very rich in the future and then my money is yours.
But don't you know that there are people that say they stay in a bad marriage?
Because
And I am not advocating divorce. They stay in a bad marriage because they cannot support themselves economically.
Oh yeah.
That creates a problem.
Okay, that's true. So where do we draw the line? Because
Careful.
clearly, it's also not good for being too independent in a marriage, because we are one. We are supposed to be one. But also, we shouldn't be very dependent on each other that we can't survive outside. So where do we draw the line?
So drawing the line, I don't think it's even about drawing the line, but it's a continuous conversation. Our needs evolve. When we are younger, maybe we used to say, where will we go for Christmas? And the choice would be Kalangala and maybe somewhere in Ibali. Now you get to a point where your marriage has done well and maybe economically, and the choice is between South Africa and maybe Mauritius. So these conditions, and then, interestingly, they will be gradual. You will make a decision of where you want to live. You will make a decision where the kids go to primary school, secondary school. Now we're talking about university. They are all big decisions. What will help is a continuous engagement and the discussion that helps. So it's not about just drawing a line in the sand. This is where I stop. Increasingly, as we start now, our age starts looking into retirement, we also have to understand what it would mean for the two couples, the economics of that couple that have been bringing money together to live together. What will happen in retirement? Here is what I have found out. As they stay together, they start investing together.
Yeah.
When the money starts on two funnels, but in investing it starts to come together,
To one, yeah.
to merge up. And usually one of them will control the funnel in retirement. The money will eventually become one source, not two sources.
Today we're talking about the economics of marriage with Mr. Mukasa. His theories, his things are very mind-blowing, but very interesting, and I hope a young couple or a young person out there can be able to relate and pick a leaf from what he's saying. And before we went on a break, he was telling us, men, you need to give your wives money, whether they're working or not. But he also was coming up with something very interesting that I was actually trying to wrap my mind around. But before we get to that, there's something he talked about earlier about the dating, because we have viewers who are just about to get married. You talked about something about a woman is an investor and
Yes.
a man is a business.
So and thank you for raising that up, because most people do not understand it. One of the thing I do as a people's professor is to try and observe society and explain misnomers or things that don't seem like they are working out as they should. My question was, why do some girls end up not getting married? Of course, there are other selection problems. And some boys pick mates that are not necessarily where they should be able to pick from. So what I found out in this observation was that at the point of marriage, at the point of dating and marriage in the beginning, the two of them, the lady and the man, are actually having different lenses they are using to evaluate a mate.
Okay, and what are these lenses?
So the lens of a lady, let's start with the lens of a lady.
Okay.
The lady, by the time they get married, usually around 24, 25, that age before 30, they are at the prime of their beauty.
Okay.
In fact, I call them flowers. They have blossomed, they are looking nice. Now, this boy comes to propose, but this boy is yet before where she will be at the best proposing time.
So we have an investor at their best.
So yes, so the flower is the investor.
At their best.
At their best. They are at the point where they have the highest amount of capital to invest.
And the man, the boy.
The boy is now, the boyfriend or whatever name you give him, is a businessman.
Okay.
Who is still prospecting. Now he's pitching to this investor for some funds to be able to capitalize his business.
So the man is dealing with the future. The woman
is dealing with a future. It's actually the investor is the one dealing with the future. The man is dealing with the present. Because the Achirabi.
But then now for me, you have to convince me with what
of your future. Because I am investing in something that I will never have again. So now that creates a conflict from the word go, if it's not well properly managed. That the boy comes in, on the side of the girl as an investor, she has to be very careful to look at the people pitching for her business and choose. If she doesn't choose and she waits when they have fully blossomed, she will not get married, technically. Because by the time they blossom, they are someone else's husband. Now you look at me with a bald head, and some people call me Sheikh and other people. Now a younger girl probably wants to take me where I am. Martha invested 20 years ago.
And now the person that you promised Martha is coming out now.
Is starting to appear. Maybe now I should be an MP somewhere.
And now this young girl is seeing that you should be...
I'm at the age where maybe I have some money to spend on her. I didn't have money to spend on Martha when she was made. It was little, it was not there. But now she wants to come at where I am. And that's where the concept of sugar daddies come from.
So from the very beginning, marriage is actually an economic...
It's an economic decision. People do not see it.
I have to trust in your future, the future that you're selling to me now.
Yes. Now here's where the problem. If I sell you a rosy future, Lambos and trips to Dubai, and I don't deliver 15 years later, you're gonna sit up in the chair and say, natomeda. Like, I goofed.
Okay.
And then, but you invested in something you will never
get back. But for me, as a businessman, I brought you on this journey so that you can make me learn faster. So that you can help me become more stabilized, more responsible. Livingstone, you're removing all my butterflies. Like you're actually breaking this thing down to the point that I'm actually looking at it as a business transaction.
It is. I'm sorry to say so. I'm on camera and I am sorry to say it's a business transaction. We just bring the butterflies on the side and we say it's butterflies. Now, if you want to understand if it's an economic decision, you wait a poor man to go and try to marry from a rich family. The parents understand. But
I love them.
Okay, thank you. They might accept. But if it was a big, powerful family, they might say, please go and look again. If it was a big, powerful, rich family.
Okay,
haven't you seen those stories?
I have seen them.
Yeah, so they are there. So the parents at the top level understand they don't see off butterflies.
They see the future that you're
They see the future and they see the economics happening. And that's what try. But can't you go back and look more properly?
Me, the heart has settled. You're telling me to go back and look.
Yeah, but they do. I can't tell. I have ever told it to one of my children. Say, but go and look more properly. Because you realize if he makes he goofs on wheat takes and the prospect is not good, they are now stuck for life.
But shockingly, I am actually speechless for the first time on this show. I am speechless.
But these are you. You can also tell me, Livingstone, you have come here to bamboozle us with your
Hey, you're We believe marriage is about forever living happily ever after.
You can live happily there after, but make sure the economics works.
So the whole point comes down the economics.
Yeah, I'd like to take a trip.
So what happens if they don't work?
They don't
you
work.
You have promised me a future. You have told me with all your beauty at 23, come be my wife.
Mm-hmm.
In 10 years, I should be able to afford a trip to
remember first year, because by the time I'm making that promise, I'm in one room.
Yes.
I only have a bed, a sigiri, or even a kagas. If you go, basically my room was bare. By the time Martha starts coming.
And if Martha had a car,
she had a car.
Probably a better bed.
Yeah.
So what?
But please, boys, don't allow beds.
What do you mean don't allow beds?
A woman to come with a bed is not allowed. It's a sin. Don't allow the bed.
Oh my God.
The bed has to be bought by you, the man.
Okay.
The rest you can accept. There are things you need to avoid, but the rest you might accept. But a bed, a man buys a bed.
So if I buy a bed, you won't sleep.
You will be snoring at the bed. The woman will say, "Look, he's snoring on my bed."
I don't think that is right.
No, you avoid it. Here is what I am trying to say. And it might, I know I am causing confusion here. But my point is that as a man, you avoid accepting those things. Where the woman will turn around and say, I am the one who brought the TV here.
But now, okay, let's go back. Let's first back up a bit. You promised me amazing things.
Yes.
You have your one mattress and your sigiri.
Mm-hmm.
Probably I've come from a family where I have my bed, I have my room, it has a TV, it has whatever.
You could even have been for like a princess.
Yes.
Because I wanted to marry in a good family.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So you've married me, and on the pretext of in the future,
yes,
I should be able to afford this and this and
Thank
that.
you.
But the future is here, and you
the
can't
future
afford
is here.
that.
Now, two things
What
are going
happens?
to. The two things that need. You, the woman, need to accept that some businesses don't work out. That's number one.
You accept your losses.
But now deal with the damage that you have, that has come. But on the man's side, sometimes it's good to go and apologize. No fukayuga mchala, ntoye.
Biganya, but I have tried. But you cannot bring back my youth that I gave you on the pretext. You get?
So you go.
I've made a loss inside out.
No fukabira wansi. No gamba. Mwami tukatukole. Katonda alikola ki. But my point that I am trying to labor to understand is that these promises are the basis of marriage. Mm. And in fact, we keep making more and more of these promises as we stay in married. Mm. And so, if you don't work on delivering on these promises, they will create a dissatisfaction. So the economics will come back to bite you.
So the men need to work at.
Yes, they need to work.
How
on
do I fulfill the promises I
now,
made?
in some cases, I remember. Let me recall properly. That if you made a big promise, you might have promised a house in Muyenga. But if you can get a house where she can live, where she can raise her family, that's good. That's good enough.
That I may have promised your house in Muyenga,
yes,
but I've not been able to put it in Muyenga. I put it in.
Yeah, so the little one that I have, yes, we can't be able to start. And so the lady also needs to understand that life happens. There are things that we dictate. For example, for some of the people that know me, I was walking fine. Like, until one day I got an accident and now I can walk, I can't run. So technically, that's the point. It's things happen, real life happens. But I have always wanted the best for her. She knows that has not changed. I still want the best for her. But we have to remember, what are your responsibilities? And are you working on those responsibilities? And literally, the man's responsibilities are always economics.
They're always economics. From what you're saying today, the man needs to make sure everything is.
Yeah. Try. Don't give up. But you imagine, I have talked to some ladies, and as a financial advisor, I have talked to some ladies where she pays school fees, she makes sure she's starting a business, and the man is always, and then they turn around, and then, you know what, maybe let me a little bit, without getting off the script, even in bed, economics can affect what happens there.
How?
You can. Like, let me say, on the basic level, the woman has slept hungry. There was no food. Now you go to the bed and you start saying,
it's the only free thing we
it's Arsenal versus Man U. I am Man U. That is your problem. There is no game there.
But it's the only free thing we have. We need to afford.
On an empty stomach.
Oh God. Anyway, so the things you're talking about, I'm envisioning a bit of insecurity that comes in, financial insecurity.
Yes.
How do we deal with this insecurity?
The insecurities come because of what is manifesting. The insecurity comes in because one of you is not doing your part. But we also have to remember there are some people like us, especially. Now, in our case, I'm an entrepreneur, she is a career woman.
Okay.
Entrepreneurs by our nature will have bad stretches of
no money,
where
or
we
losses.
have invested losses, and we have those bad stretches. Pull your friend. That time is to understand. It's a matter of time I'll get where it's money has come in. So it's okay to help each other.
But at times when you help someone and you help them, they're always the ones in.
No, but that's why I'm saying it needs to be something. Someone needs to see an end to the helping. And
I cannot help you for year 1, year 2, year 3.
But I also now remember the economics. This is when I tell people that there are also families that what I call ebyokuzika birinze muko. They are families by their nature that they try to look at the man that married their daughter as the solve of everything.
If you're the rich muko.
The rich muko. But I never wanted such a family, and I'm glad I never got one. Because you were there, and every problem, dad is sick, mom is sick, the kids need fees, and.
But Livingstone, if husbands take care of our sick people.
Man, I married you. I never married the entire clan.
But we became one.
We became one, and then you came with the entire clan.
But what is mine is yours.
No.
So the clan is mine.
No. And then we start no. Point is, what has happened that the economy, now let me be serious here, and I want you to pick this. The economy now dictates that we have nuclear families. Because it's no longer the economy where you had spare matoke and spare food. Yeah. Like you go to the garden. When I was growing up, my mom, we used to have a lot of people at home. My mom could go to the garden, bring food.
The food was free.
The food was technically free. So you could have a big family. Right now, Kampala, every mouth you have needs money. I have come from a class to come to this show today. I came from a class, and we said, this was a group from Nebi that I was talking to, and we did some numbers in Nebi. A family of 6 needs 500,000 to survive a month. 500,000 Uganda shillings. So we did the numbers, and that works out
at like
85,000 a month. That means for every mouse you accept in your home, that's 85,000.
In Nebi.
So when your auntie calls you and is sending that cousin to live with you, first look in the pocket. Is there an extra 85,000 to feed this mouth? It's economics.
I don't know how to ask you, because aren't you taking out the humanity that as the way you're saying there's black tax for us Africans, there's.
I thought you were going to tell me that I'm taking out the butterflies.
The butterflies went away already. They're not anywhere. That's why they're not even away.
Actually, I love you better if the economics are working. That means I have time to pamper you. I have time to buy you a nice shoe. And I have time to dress smartly as a husband.
So when the economics works, then the butterflies can actually come
They are
out.
more. Like I take you to the good restaurants, I can look after you. You go home and you ask. There was a time, but I hope she will forgive me for this. I had gone for a trip, and they called me. Come on, Livingstone, there have been no power at home for an entire day. And I said, there's no power. Said good enough. It was a term trip. I came back and I went, and the first thing I got home was to find out where the Yaka meter is. This lady had been, she didn't know where the Yaka meter was. That the Yaka meter had lain out of units.
Oh, so she thought power had gone.
Power had gone in the village. And that day, of course they had power backup, so they were not so much affected. But she didn't know where Yaka meters are. They are men of those nature. They will take over and they are able to look
And they
after.
do everything. The ones that close the doors, the ones that...
Yeah, they are. You have your
So going to
space.
make us throw away our husbands.
No, we want people to be responsible. We don't want people to take things for granted. I don't cook food at home, so that's for sure. I don't serve myself. There is still a law. So I expect even if you have come from the office to serve me.
What's wrong with your hands?
No, I was raised a man itakwata musepiki. Bwana aliyemba zonna. No. So that's the point. That's the point where you agree who you are. You have now defined who you are. And I think society is trying to change us a little bit. And what we see as the roles on, maybe sometimes on TV and what we read are not real. They are coming from a culture that is primarily not our culture. Our culture had strong marriages. We had strong marriages because the value, what you do and what I do were well properly defined. Now we see a mixture of roles. She comes in, she now wants to order the builders at home and cause confusion.
So is that why our marriages have become so dilute and they're
They're dilute because essentially there is no longer a man and a woman. They are two people that are equal, that are living together.
But we're the ones who are fighting for equality.
No, if that's what they have defined as equality, I don't want it in my home. That's what you have defined as equality. I have a strong sense of who I am and how I was raised. And
but I think even minus the raising, the Bible is very clear.
Yes.
That the man is the head of the home.
Don't forget that.
So we should not forget that. So it's very interesting that you've actually taken the love out of... You have actually broken down marriage to economics. And even when I feel you've taken out my butterflies, me I like butterflies. But to some extent, actually, what you're saying is true. Who you marry
will be...
It's like the biggest check you'll make in life.
Yeah, and for us, we write it once.
And you write it once. So as Christians, you have one check to write. The person you're going to marry.
Give it to him and don't demand it back.
And once you mess up on that...
Live with the repercussions.
You live with you're like, I made a loss, and it is.
It's a one-way track. Okay. It's a one-way track. You can collect. And I encourage couples, even after you come for financial advisor, we can look at you and see. Some of you are doing well, but I remember there is a comment that I want to make sure that this show does not end without me elaborating on it. That's when the money joins together.
Oh yes, the retirement part.
So it joins together and then all of a sudden we find that one couple has lost access to the money.
How does that happen? Because you said we bring in the two sources.
Yes, they start
and put
as
it
two.
As one.
Then when they invest together. Just suppose they have built rentals and the rentals have been a collection of two, and then at a certain point after they have retired, they find that now money is coming to the husband or to the woman, and then she has now to take off some money and give the other.
Why? Why would it come down to that?
Because that's the nature of investments. That later on they merge.
Yes, but it merges. Even if it merges, we can actually be paid out both accounts.
But there is one person that will be supervising it to make sure that it generates the money, and she needs to be responsible enough to remember where it started. That's why I raised the point. so that they don't eat alone.
We shouldn't.
I had a couple. They are actually very wealthy. And the man will fuel the car, he will buy, make sure the woman has a car. But the woman wants sometimes to take a trip and she's tired of explaining. The very wealthy couple.
Because
now one person
I
is
have to go and
controlling
tell Mr. Mbowa, you see now.
And remember, you also had your mother, perhaps your friend, that you were giving money before the money merged. There are people that you like to do their church programs you wanted to support, and you didn't need permission. Now, once the money merges, now permission is back. You're almost like where you started when you were young.
Just saying, at Mr. Mbowa, I need to go with my friends out. Can you give me some money?
Yes, because the money has aggregated. So that also needs to be managed, and I'm helping some couples do that.
So as we put the money together to go up,
yes,
we need to plan for when this money merges, how does it supply to both?
To both.
So even when it merges, you should have two taps.
No, one, but the distribution has to be clear.
It has to be
clear.
clear.
It has to be clear. Otherwise, couples then all of a sudden creates another economic problem where each couple is investing differently.
And that tears
the couples apart.
Okay, thank you, Livingstone. I'm actually amazed at the conversation, and honestly did not go anywhere that I thought or even planned, but it was a beautiful conversation. So I wonder, as we close this, any parting shots for the viewers? What is it about this economics of marriage? I know we have been able to talk about it. We've been able to expound the details that the person you marry is your one check. For us as Christians, we have one check. So it's very important who you trust that check with. So what were parting shots to our viewers?
So thank you for hosting me.
It's been my pleasure.
and I just have to make sure that and encourage couples that they work on the economics. Do not forget them for a moment, because they will mess up everything that comes with. There are a lot of costs that are coming to emerge. We are seeing families now with 5-7 smartphones that all are taking data in the family, and so it's becoming tougher. So work on those economics, review, have annual budgets, have monthly budgets, record your expenditure, know where your money is coming, and be careful with debt. Don't eat debt at the back behind your other colleague or your wife or your husband, because that debt will then become a shared problem. Thank you very much, Phiona.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mukasa. I hope our viewers have had this day. Marriage, even when I love butterflies, but marriage is an economic decision. Before you decide to marry, or those of us who are married, as you go about your day-to-day life, remember there's economics in marriage. And once you're able to work on the economics, the butterflies will come and will live happily ever after. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Phiona Mbowa. This is Ring Diaries.